Zach hated clutter, but this place was decorated in a romantic style that seemed to invite it. The personal things were all mine. The cardigan thrown over the cabbage roses sofa, the pregnancy magazines covering the distressed coffee table, the pot of lip gloss and ponytail holder on the white painted chimney-piece, the novels on the chintz armchair. Zach was constantly putting them away, then scrubbing the artificially aged surfaces with disinfectant wipes. I was trying to be more orderly, because it was painful to see him so unnerved by what he would call mess, and I would call the ordinary chaos of human life. Since Maxine's ambush on the cliffs 2 months earlier, I'd stepped up my efforts to search the house for some sign of Jane. I poked my fingers into the toes of Zach's socks when I tossed the clean pairs into the drawer. I ran my hand under the mattress when I made the bed. I examined the seams of his suits when I hung up his shirts from the dry cleaners. I checked his books as I dusted to see if any were mere shells with cavities for hiding things. So far, I had found nothing. His taste in books, all hardbacks and dust-free, was unsurprising. Medical ethics, law, artificial intelligence, and the surveillance state. He especially liked it when these subjects intersected. His current book at bedtime was about the use of technology by a group of anonymous hackers to promote political and social change. As I closed the lid of a shoebox that lived in his wardrobe, it contained a pair of unworn black Oxfords, I had a flash of Zach loading a new carbon fibre suitcase onto the passenger seat of his sports car. Everybody saved their old suitcases for packing stuff when they moved, didn't they? Before I had finished this thought, I was rushing down the stairs to the cupboard that runs beneath them. My own suitcases were towards the front. I'd used them to transport my stuff from what I referred to as the brown house. My attic bedroom, with walls that I'd painted all the colours of the rainbow, was the one exception to the law of brown. The rest of the house was filled with brown carpets that my grandmother vacuumed every day, brown tapestry curtains that I was always opening and she was always closing, and brown sofas covered in bobbled brown blankets that I was always tearing off and she was always putting back. "I don't want my fine furniture destroyed by the sun," my grandmother would say. I actually felt a kind of nostalgic affection for the brown house as I started to drag my suitcases from the cupboard beneath Zach's stairs, sliding and pulling them into the wide hallway behind me. I couldn't help but smile at my grandmother's blue vinyl train case, which was like seeing an old friend. When I once expressed surprise at the pretty colour, she told me my grandfather bought it for her. "Horribly impractical. See how it scuffs," she said. But she looked at it with reluctant affection. After all, she'd brought it from their farm to my parents' house when she moved in to look after me. I, in turn, brought it to Zach, stuffed with my bathroom things and makeup. It wouldn't occur to Zach that I'd enter this dank and dusty place which he avoided, given the germs that must infest it. I had to crawl inside to reach the final suitcases. They were old, made of tan canvas and trimmed with tan fake leather in the corners. The larger of the two was too bulky and heavy to comply with today's airline specifications. I shone my phone torch over them. Flimsy padlocks linked the zippers. I lifted each of the identification tags. Zach had written his name on both. He'd probably dragged them around the continent during his gap-year grand tour and kept them out of nostalgic fondness. I tugged Zach's clunky things into the hall, then unfastened my grandmother's train case. Tucked within a silky stretch pocket on its top side was a snap-closing coin purse filled with tiny keys for old suitcase locks. The purse, quilted fabric and brown, of course, had lived in that pocket for as long as I could remember. I could hear my grandmother's voice. "Brown is a practical colour, Holly. It doesn't show the dirt."